Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to set up your camera settings when shooting real estate video. Let's get into it. First camera setting to set up is shutter speed. Now when we're shooting real estate video, I typically like to shoot at double our frame rate. And the reason why we shoot double our frame rate is that we try to, it looks nicer, like it doesn't look as choppy when we're shooting at higher shutter speeds. So our footage looks a lot more smoother when we shoot at double the frame rate. So whenever we're shooting, I like to keep it at, try to just at least keep it at double the frame rate and not touch it unless it's like last resort, I really need to touch it. But I try my best not to. So for example, if we're shooting at 30 frames per second, double that is 60. So we would be shooting at 1/60th of a second. Same thing goes on if you're shooting at 120 frames per second, double that is 240. So you would be shooting at 1/240th of a second. So that's pretty much for, I like to stay when it comes to shutter speed. So the next camera setting that we can adjust is aperture. So it kind of depends on what lens that you have. Some lenses go down to 1.4, 1.8. Some lenses only go up to f4. So when we're shooting with wide, I like to go ahead and shoot around f4 to f7 so that we can have as much in focus as possible. But when we have zoomed in and detail shots, I like to shoot around like f1.8, f2 so that we can have some bokeh and depth of field in there. But those are some general speaking terms of where we want to be at with our aperture. Moving on to the next camera setting is ISO. ISO is like light sensitivity. So when we're outside, we kind of want to be at the lowest ISO, which would probably be 100. And then when we're inside, since it's going to be a little bit darker than obviously it is outside, I kind of like to stay between ISO 400 and 800. If you need to bump it up more beyond that, like 1000, 1200, 1600, you could do that, but just know that you're going to get some noise at that time. So you might have to go ahead and do some noise reduction in post. But typically I like to stay at least max 800 ISO when shooting interiors, and then a 100 would be just outside and for really bright shots. Another camera setting that I adjust is white balance. Most shoots, I typically try to shoot at like just an auto white balance because I don't want to have to be messing with the white balance every time. I can kind of just adjust the white balance in post. However, if you want to be someone that just adjusts it at the shoot, you can totally do that. So you can just set it to manual white balance and then you just adjust it for almost every shot. But again, as you can tell, that might waste a lot of time, and then having to adjust the white balance every time could just be time consuming. So that's why I like to shoot it at auto, and then I'll just mess with it in post because to me it's a little bit easier of a workflow, but just depends on how you would like to do it. Now the last camera setting that I think is important that we make sure that we get right is the video format. Like, what are we shooting it at? So typically on a Canon, I would shoot at 1080p, 24 frames per second, and on top of that, you want to shoot at a low compression file. So like for example, all I is a very low compression file type, and it's better than the other file types that are there because they're high compression. So shooting at a low compression allows us to give it as much of details and like information that we can when it comes to editing. We don't really want to have a high compressive video file when working with it because then we don't have as much flexibility with it when we're editing it in post. So definitely you want to shoot at a lower file compression video type when we're going ahead to shoot video. So that's just, it might vary from, you know, Sony to Canon and to Nikon, but typically whatever the video format is, just try to make sure that you're shooting it at a low compressive file type. So those are pretty much the main camera settings that I adjust and that are really important when it comes to real estate video. So if you have any other questions, or is there maybe a setting that I missed, please leave it down below and I can go ahead and answer it for you very quickly. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I also have a real estate video course coming out soon, but if you leave your name and email down below, there's a link down below that you can leave your name and email, and I'll let you know and I'll notify you when it comes out very soon. But until then, I'll see you guys next time and take care.